In my time as Snapchick, I've taken a lot of self-portraits. It can be challenging, but it can also be a great learning tool. You can really learn the ins and outs of your gear and portraiture in general by using yourself as the subject. In this video, I'll show you some examples of self-portraits I've taken, some from previous shoots and some from a mini studio shoot that I just did this week here in the studio. I'll share some tips that I've learned from doing self-portraits, and then I've got a challenge for you. Now, if you're one of my VIPs, I want you to stop watching this video right now. Instead, look in the description below. There's a link to a post on snapchick.com. Log in to see an extended version of this video. All the same stuff, but more. So seriously, VIPs, stop watching right now. Everyone else though, let's talk more about self-portraits. We hear the term selfie a lot these days. We all know what a selfie is. I think selfies are great, but it makes me cringe when someone calls a self-portrait that I've done, that I spent a lot of time on, that I've worked on, a selfie. I think selfie implies a sort of nonchalance, spontaneity, lack of forethought and artistry. Self-portraiture, rather, is as old as art itself. Many painters throughout history have painted themselves as the subject, or even painted themselves into their paintings as a face in the crowd or as a supporting character. It's said that Rembrandt created nearly 100 self-portraits in his lifetime. What I'm talking about today is more than the spontaneous selfie. There are different ways that you can take photos of yourself. Let's talk a little bit about some of my tips while I show you some of my own self-portraits. You don't need a lot of fancy equipment. You need a camera, somewhere to put the camera, and a lighting source. You need a camera of some sort, a DSLR, a point and shoot, even a phone. Almost all cameras have a self-timer these days. Even lots of phones have a self-timer. Some cameras even have an interval timer, which you can set up and the camera will take a number of photos at a set interval. You could also use a remote. There are remotes for DSLRs and even for the camera on your phone. Everything in between as well. Some cameras even connect with an app on your phone, which can control your camera remotely. Then you need something to put the camera on. A tripod is handy, but you can use anything really, anywhere where you can safely balance the camera. And as for light, you may be taking this photo outside, or you can position yourself near a window to use daylight, or you could use a desk lamp, or a work lamp, or even studio lighting. Now for settings. Your camera mode, your aperture, shutter speed, and ISO sensitivity, they will depend upon what you're trying to achieve. I will talk about aperture in a second though. Before that, let's talk about how you will get the camera to focus on you. You can definitely rely on the camera's super smart autofocus modes. Many current DSLRs have a mode that will detect the subject and focus there. If you don't have that, or if you find it unreliable, you can put something where you will be in the frame and focus on it. Then switch your camera over to manual focus so that it won't focus at all anymore, and then attempt to stay in that area where you previously focused. One thing that can help here is to use a narrow enough aperture so that you have a deep enough depth of field to have a little bit of wiggle room. You'll have to experiment though within your situation to see what will work for you. And that brings me to my last tip: experimentation and patience. Self-portraits can be challenging. I feel like though that I always learn something when I do it. For example, for my shoot this week, I wanted to play with my gels. It's been a while since I've used them, and I thought it might be kind of fun to illuminate my white backdrop with them. I didn't want, though, a model to come in for me to spend a whole bunch of time monkeying with my gear while I just sit there. I do have a mannequin that I sometimes use as a stand-in too, but there just really is no substitute for a real live person. So that left me. But I needed to use my patience muscles in the process of going back and forth to the camera, the lighting, and the portrait stool where I am now. Now I think you can guess what my challenge is. Here's my challenge to you. Take some photos of yourself. See what you can come up with. See what it's like. See how it feels to be on the other side of the camera. Use yourself as an experiment for a new technique maybe, like I did with the gels. And then, if you dare, share your self-portrait with the rest of us on my Facebook page. Maybe let us know what your experience was like and what you found to work best for you. If you weren't comfortable posting your self-portrait on my Facebook page, feel free to private message me or to email me too. Now for what I'm going to do. I'm going to do another self-portrait shoot. I'll share my results with you next week, so subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page so that you can see what I come up with. Before I go, you have seen a bunch of photos in this video. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you will find a few sample shots from the shoot that I just did this week and technical details too, plus more information on how to become a VIP. When you log in as a VIP there, you'll see the extended version of this video where I talk more about this recent self-portrait shoot, lots of technical details from my time in the studio, plus memories I have from what I've done in the past and what I have planned for my next self-portrait shoot. There is also a gallery of images from this week's shoot in the studio. So check out the link below, try your hand at self-portraiture, and let us all know how it goes.